Now I'm going to add the unit test for the order repository of the order service microservice. Let me create a class called order repository test in test folder. I will annotate it with @data.jpa test annotation. Now I'm injecting the order repository. Next, let's create a method called setup and annotate it with @before each annotation. In our order service IMPL class, first method is create order method. So let's go to the order repository test and let me add the BDD structure. And I will give the comment as JUnit test for create order operation. And for the name of the method, I can give given order object, when save, then return saved order. I'm going to add the @builder to the order entity so that we can easily create an object of order inside the setup method. I'm going to give the order date first. I have to use here the local date dot pass method. Pass method accepts a char sequence, so we can pass this string inside the pass method. Next, I'm going to give the order description. Next, I will give the order price. And next, I will give the order status. So we have to create a object of status class inside the setup method. So we can use the builder here, and I'm going to give the status as assigned. Let's add this status object here. And now we have created the object of order entity. So inside the test case, I'm going to call the save method of order repository by passing the order object, and it will return a saved order. So let's assign it to a reference variable. And now I'm going to import the assert that method as a static import so that we can use that to verify the output. So in the then section, let's use the assert that, and let's use the saved order, and we can then call the is not null to make sure the saved order is not null. Next, we can use the assert that to check the status, the order ID, and we can check for the order ID is greater than 0. Let's run the test case. And we can see now it shows the test case has failed. Let's see what it says. So it says not null property references a transient value, and it's complaining about the order status. So the reason here is, although we created a status object, we did not save that status object into the database first. We used it in the order object, but before using that in the order object, before assigning that status to the order object, we did not save the status first into the database by using the save method of the status repository. So let's inject the status repository. And inside the setup method, let's call the save method of the status repository by passing the created status. Let's run the test case again. Still we are getting the test case as failed, and it's because of a mistake I did. I did not use the auto-wired annotation when injecting the status repository. Let's add the auto-wired annotation and let's run the test case again. Now we can see the test case has passed. Let me add the next test case. So in our order size IMPL class, we have the get all orders as the next method. So I'm going to create the BDD style structure, and this is for JUnit test for get all orders operation, and let's give the display name also. Here for the method, it should be given orders list when find all, then return orders list. So we have to create one more order. We already have a order in our setup method. So I'm going to copy that, and in the precondition section, let me create another order, and I will give the name for the orders order 1, and order date I will give a different date, and let me give a different description as well. Let's give a different price also, and I will use the same status, the status we created inside our setup method. So after creating this order, I will add both order and order 1 into the database by calling the order repository and then save method. Inside the when section, I'm going to use the find all method of the order repository to get all orders from the database. So this will return a list of orders. And in the then section, we can use the assert that, and we can check whether it's not null. We can again use the assert that to check the size of this list. Let me run this test case. And test case has passed. The next method in the order size IMPL class is get order by ID. So let's create a test case to test that method. So the name for this test case is we are going to save one order into the database first. So because of that, given order object, and then action, the behavior is we are going to call find by ID, and then it should return an order object. So in the given section, I will call the save method of order repository to save the order we created inside the setup method. Then in the when section, we can call the find by ID method of order repository, and to the method we can pass the order ID of the order object, and it will return an object of optional of order. So to get the order object from that, we have to call the get method. In the then section, we will use the assert that, and we can call the is not null. Let's run the test case. Test case has passed, and we can see these are the SQL statements used by this test case. Next, we have this update order method in our order size IMPL class. Let's create a test case to test the update order operation. In this test case also, we are going to give one order. So given order object, then the behavior is update. When update order, then it should return updated order. So in the precondition, I will call the save method of order repository to first save the order object that we created in our setup method. In the when section, we are going to call first the find by ID method, and we are going to pass the ID of the order object. And this will return an order object from the database. Then let's update some values of this order object. let me update the order date. So we have the order date as this for the order object. So I'm going to use local date dot pass, and I will give a different date like this. And also I will update the order price. After updating the order, I'm going to call the save method of the order repository again. And let's save this updated order to the database. And it will return the updated order. So let's take that returned order into a reference variable. In the then section, we can then use the assert that to check the uh, values of the updated order against the expected value. I'm going to get the order date of the updated order, and we can check it using is equal to, and I will pass this local date dot pass, and I will use the same like this. We will add another assert statement. Let's check the price. Let me run the test case and let's see the results. Test case has passed. Finally, we are going to test the delete order operation. In this test case also, we are going to give an order object, and we are going to save it into the database first. The behavior is we are going to delete, and then it should remove that order from the database. So in the given section, I will call the save method of order repository to save the order object. In the when section, we are going to call the delete by ID method of order repository, and we can pass the ID from the order object. So once it deleted, we can call the find by ID method of the order repository again by passing the same ID. And we can assign the value to a optional of order. In the assert that statement, then we can use that order optional to check for the check whether it is empty. Let's run the test case. We can see that test case is also passed.